Hi, everybody. I'm Adam Markell, and welcome to today's Pivot Training. I get to spend a little bit of time with you and teach you something that's really fundamental. And so just let me start with a bit of my own background very quickly, and then I'll get right into the training. So as some of you know, I'm a recovering attorney. I spent 18 years in the full-time practice of law. Before that, I was a waiter. I worked in publishing for a short time. I was 2 years as an English teacher in the New York City School District. Had a lot of different jobs. I've reinvented myself several times, and I think there's two types of reinventions that are always going on for everybody. One is, by reinvention, I use the word pivot. So we have a pivot by design and pivot by default. And pivot by design is really you being able to design your life, meaning you decide that maybe you don't love what you're doing, you don't love what you do for a living, maybe you don't love where you live, maybe you don't love something about your health or something about your relationships, but there's something you simply want to change, and that pivot is kind of a code word for change or reinvention or transformation. And you can either design those changes, meaning you're the one that decides what it is you want to change, and then you go through a process, and that process is outlined in this book, Pivot, for one thing, and that process is what helps you to create those changes. That's pivot by design. And pivot by default, which is usually what happens, is that something changes in your life situation. That could be that you get a diagnosis from the doctor. It could be that somebody that you love passes away or leaves you. It could be that your job disappears. It could be that your business fails. It could be any number of things that just sort of come out, from left field and hit you unexpectedly, quote unquote. And that's pivot by default. But either way, the skill set of being able to utilize those situations as they show up in your life, to be able to pivot gracefully, the way when you see on TV on basketball or basketball game, you see the players be able to pivot on one back foot and turn 360 degrees around to be able to create greater vision on the court. That gives them greater options. It means that they're not stuck in defense mode, or they're not stuck, period, because they can, when they see the greater vision of the court, they can pass, they can shoot, they can do a lot of different things that they don't have the option of doing when they're just purely locked down in that stuck place where you're just in defense mode. And I think a lot of people get into that defensive mindset, especially when it comes to change, because change really triggers fears. Fundamentally, anything that changes the status quo scares the daylights out of us. And since we have that old, prehistoric reptilian brain, it immediately, when there's change, when there's fear that gets triggered, it puts us in that fight or flight response. And in that fight or flight response, of course, we cannot think clearly. We don't see our options clearly, and mostly we're on defense. So the purpose of pivoting and learning the art and science of pivoting, learning the process, which we're going to be teaching you. So you're in the perfect place to learn that, because we're going to go through these video trainings and help you to create more clarity in your life, which really is about you understanding your beliefs and understanding, sort of why you do what you do, and then putting yourself into momentum. That's all about behaviors. That's all about actions. And then how is it that we can support you? How can you support you by creating new practices, new rituals, which lead to new habits, so that all the things that you want in your life, the things that you get clarity about, the things that you start to put into action to create some momentum, are actually things that propel you forward. And then, of course, along the way, you're going to find that things are going to change again, and you're going to pivot again. But the progression is this kind of an up, the way a climber traverses a mountain. The way people who want to get to the summit of Mount Everest, they start at base camp, they go up one level, and they make that level their new high point, their new plateau point, and then they get themselves ready for the next climb. That's, to me, every one of those plateau points is a new base camp. And so if you're watching this video, chances are you're in a situation where either you're pivoting because you're designing your life, meaning that you want to make a conscious change because you don't love something about your health, your money situation, your business, your relationships, something like that. And you're consciously choosing to make a change. Or something came out of nowhere that created a change situation for you. And now you know that you've got to do something about it, and you're sort of, want to be in response mode, but you're probably more in reaction mode. So either way, you're in the perfect place to learn this process. So I want to do something really, really powerful with you right now. And I've shared this exercise, gosh, with thousands and thousands of people all over the world because I've had the blessing since I worked my plan B to become a transformational trainer, speaker, program director, CEO of one of the world's largest personal development and business training companies. When I was working on all that, I was traveling all over the world, sharing techniques on how to create better results in money, in business, finance, relationships, health, etc. So I'm going to give you a fundamental exercise right now that really is profound. So I'm going to walk you through what the exercise is, and then of course you can always rewind and watch, see what I'm saying, watch the instructions, listen to them, and then take the next step, and you can always rewind and watch it again. All that's perfect, but let me walk you through it first. So we'll start with a Jim Rohn quote. Now, if you don't know who Jim Rohn is, I want you to, as soon as you're done with the training, I want you to Google Jim Rohn. All right, he's one of Tony Robbins' first teachers, mentors, an amazing, amazing man. And what Jim Rohn said was, he said, the bigger the why, the easier the how. So I want you to write that down. The bigger the why, the easier the how, which simply means that you've got to understand your big why. If you don't know your big why, every obstacle will stop you, and there will be tons and tons of obstacles. So I run into people all over the world. I've had, the privilege to work with so many people, and oftentimes I believe people don't get what they want because they don't know what they want, meaning they don't get what they want because they don't have clarity about what it is that they want. They don't know what they want. So that's the first thing. But the second thing is really powerful. And that is that they don't get what they don't get what they want because they don't know why they want it. I want to repeat that, because they don't know why they want it. So we're going to do a fundamental exercise for you to just get more familiar with your why. So here's a simple exercise. And if we were together, you'd have one of these, for one of our trainings, we just, pass out one of these sheets. So all I want you to do is get a blank sheet of paper. Okay. You don't need a fancy sheet here. You see the quote at the top. It says the bigger the why, the easier the how, Jim Rohn, etc. You just take out a blank piece of paper and write down 5 to 7 things that you would do if resources and time were not an issue. If you had all the resources, meaning money and any other resource that you would want to have, and you had all the time that you would need, what are 5 to 7 things that you would do? So just go ahead and write those down. Literally take a pen, take a piece of paper, take a pencil, whatever it is, and write down 5 to 7 things that you would do if you had all the money, all the resources, all the time that you could ever hope to have. What are 5 to 7 things that you would do? So go ahead. That's the first thing that you do. You write those down. Okay. Now, again, if you're waiting until the end, that's great. I'll give you the rest of the directions, and then you can come back and start the exercise from here. So now I'm assuming you've written down those 5 to 7 things that you would do if time and money were no object, were no issue. Okay. Now, I want you to rate them. Take a look at them. Each one of them, right? You've got them all listed there, okay? I want you to simply rate them on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 to 10. Now, 1 is something that, you'd like to have it. It would be nice to have it. It'd be fun to have it. But the truth is, it's not an imperative in your life, okay? If it didn't happen, you'd be just fine. That's a 1. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, to me, this is something super important. I'm so passionate about this. This is something I really, really want to have in my life. That's an 8, okay? A 9 looks like, man, this is my life. This is my purpose. This is why I was born. This is what I'm here to do. I haven't gotten around to it. I haven't been able to do it because of circumstances or situations that have happened. But the truth of the matter is that this is super important to me. 10 or 9.5 to 10. I cannot leave this earth. I cannot leave this planet without this thing happening. Meaning, I've got to make this happen. This is my legacy. This is about why I'm here and who I'm supposed to be and fulfilling my dharma. This is my duty. This is my purpose. This is my mission. That energy, right? That's a 9.5 to 10. Okay, so go ahead right now and rate those things. Just rate where you stand on each of those 5, 6, or 7 items that you wrote down. Hopefully you had that many. things that you would do, and write them and rate them on a scale of 1 to 10. Go ahead and do that now. All right? Terrific. So every single one of them. Now, you're not rank ordering them. So it's not in order of, this is a 10, this one's a 9, this was an 8, nothing like that. Each one of them individually, you just create a number for it that indicates just how pressing it is in your life to see this happen in your life. So you've rated each one of those now. Fantastic. Now here's what I want you to do. I want you to circle. Take the pen and literally circle the ones that are 9, 9.5, and 10. 9, 9.5, and 10. Now, on the odd chance that you have nothing written on your paper that's at least a 9, then I want you to go back to the first part of the exercise and think, what would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? Like literally, what would you do if you knew that you could not fail? Would you build an orphanage? Would you scholarship, create a scholarship to put 100 kids from the inner city through college? Would you buy your mother or your father or your sister or your brother or a perfect stranger even a brand new home or a car? What would you do? Would you build, would you write a book? Would you create a publishing house? Would you create a retreat where people could go and learn how to heal themselves of illnesses without having to have operations or be on medications? I don't know what that is for you, but you've got to have something that's meaningful, because if you don't have anything that's at least a 9 that's written down on that page, you could pretty well forget that you're ever going to have that thing happen. It's just not going to happen, because the fact of the matter is the universe responds to our energy. It's sometimes called the law of attraction, but it reflects back to us what we put out. And if our energy is low, we get back low energy. If we were in front of each other right now, as we sort of are, I would say this to you. I say, well, if you've got low energy, how's that working out so far? How's that working out in your life? How's that working out in your relationships? How's it working out in your health? How's it working out in your business or your finances, right? We know how it works out. So we just get reflecting back to us what we put out. So if you don't have at least a 9 written down, then go back and redo that exercise and think and feel, more than even just thinking, feel into your heart what's really important to you. What are you truly passionate about? And if you can't come up with that, think about what would you be passionate about, again, if you knew you absolutely could not fail, okay? So then fast forward, you've got your things written down, you've rated them all. I want you to circle the ones that are 9, 9.5, or 10. 9, 9.5, or 10. Fantastic. Now, hopefully you've got at least one, but maybe 2, maybe 3, who knows, okay? Now, this is very, very important, and it's going to involve having somebody else work with you. You can do this by yourself, but I really, really strongly suggest that you either work with somebody that you can find in your home. You could work with a colleague at work about it. You could call somebody up on the phone. You can FaceTime them, because it'd be so great for you to be able to be face-to-face. Maybe, again, you could do it on the phone, just pick up that cell phone and just do a FaceTime with them. That's fine. But to be face-to-face with somebody when you share this, okay? What you're going to do is you're going to share with your partner in this instance, your partner for this exercise, what those things are. Meaning, if you knew you couldn't fail, if you knew money, time, and other resources were no object, what would you do? You're going to share what you would do with that other person. All right? Very, very important. Now, you just want them to be witness. You're not interested in feedback. You're not looking for them to tell you, oh, that's crazy. How are you going to make that happen? You don't have enough money for that. That's the last thing in the world that you want. And so you're just going to explain to them that for the purposes of this pivot exercise, okay, which is a wonderful exploration of, what you want in your life. So if anybody asks you, say, I'm just involved in a process here to look at how I might make some changes for the better in my life, whether it's, because I want to have a better job, or I want to have a better business, or I want to have a better relationship, or I want to have better health, whatever it is, you're just looking to make some incremental improvements. And this is a baby step in the direction of making that incremental improvement. And you want to enroll them or enlist their assistance to be nothing more than a sort of a sounding board, somebody that can just listen and be witness to what you said. All right? And I want you to share it with them, and I want you to share it with them from, from your heart and from your soul. Because to me, this is fundamentally so important that you understand the value, meaning the value in what it is that you're intending, right? Because some of you have written some beautiful things now. I mean, whether you're doing this exercise or you've done it already and you're watching it for the second time, you've written something really beautiful, all right? And now I want you to be seen. I want you to be heard by someone else. And pick somebody that, if you've got naysayers in your life, people that are, kind of always judging and that kind of thing, don't pick that person. Hello? I'd rather you pick a stranger. You can be witnessed, you can be heard and seen by a stranger. You don't need to be heard and seen by somebody that's a naysayer in your life, and you know who I'm talking about, all right? Now, my recommendation to you is that you don't be a naysayer in your life. Don't be a naysayer in your life, okay? Take a look at what you've written, share it with someone else, and sit with it. Sit with it, because this is one of the most powerful things for most people, is that when they understand their purpose, the purpose for having more money, for example, right? Because a lot of people, when I say to them, well, would you like to have $1 million? Would you like to have 10 million? How about 100 million? Wow, oh my God, I don't need that much. They don't want to even think that that's, sort of something that they need to have in order to be happy. But I can tell you that when you do want and are willing to receive a lot of money in your life, a lot of financial abundance and other resources that are these prosperity resources, like time, like the time to be able to do what you want, then you can give so much to the world. Those beautiful things that you want to have happen can be possible when you have time and you have money. But if you don't have a big enough reason for having more time, more resources, more money even, the chances of you having those things are limited. That's why Jim Rohn, at the very beginning, he says, the bigger the why, the easier the how, which just means that when you have a big enough purpose, a big enough reason, it acts as a magnet. It attracts everything in the universe to help you to achieve that big thing, that's beautiful mission, whatever that is. It's a magnet. It'll attract money. It'll attract people. It'll attract other resources. It'll attract the things that'll give you the time to pursue those beautiful goals. When I was a lawyer not so long ago, being a lawyer was fine and it was a great living and all that kind of thing, but I was every day waking up unhappy, every day waking up feeling unfulfilled, and even worse, waking up with anxiety about the day, feeling dread because I didn't love what I was doing. All I was doing was being a magnet for that same energy to come back at me. It was a little bit like being a crap magnet, and I would attract that kind of crap. When I decided that my bigger mission was to help people to transform their lives, and what I really wanted to do as a global mission for our company was to be able to help people to create their own peace, so that they could create their peace, and by having their own peace, they would reflect it out, meaning their peace, my peace, becomes a gift that I give to the world. Your peace, your love, the harmony in your life becomes a gift that you extend out and that you give to the rest of the world. And so, my mission, Randy and I, my wife and I, we have 4 kids and we'll have grandchildren someday. And what I want for them, for our kids and our grandkids, is to live in a peaceful world. So my selfish goal is that you creating your peace provides peace to all the people around you, to your family, to your friends, to your business colleagues, all those things. And every single person that's creating more peace becomes a domino that tips over another domino, so that at some point, maybe in our lifetimes, we actually can feel that this world has become a more peaceful place. So that's my selfish reasons for wanting you to really, really, really own this exercise, to write those things down, to rate where where you stand 1 to 10, to circle the big ones, the 9s, 9.5s, and 10s, and then to go and have someone else be your witness to it. You don't have to figure it out. You don't need to get involved in the dreaded hows. All you need to do for the moment is to just own the energy of something big. That's it. Just fill up your heart. Allow that space to be filled with this beautiful thing that you've got on your mind. Whether it's, buying a home for somebody you love, or it's buying or creating or developing homes For homeless people, whatever it is that's that big thing for you, you're going to hold that space, and we're going to hold that space right along with you. So again, this is your first training. I hope you absolutely have enjoyed it, and look forward and not just look forward, but look in your inbox, look in your email for the next Pivot training. I wish you a beautiful, beautiful rest of your day or your evening. I'll say ciao for now, and we'll see you soon.